There's been for me like a lot of like, I think like shame and feeling like I'm a failure. I had my life planned out and life is not going according to that plan. It was already supposed to be figured out. It has to work out. There is no other option. It has to work out. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. My name is Nyla. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Come join the family. You're gonna love it here because everybody loves it here and that's on period. So yeah, welcome back to a new video. So this video is going to be a little different from what I typically do on my channel. I mean, I've done chit-chat videos before, but it's been a little minute. It's been a while. I've been giving y'all mostly vlogs. So I wanted to do a chit-chat video because I feel like we need to talk. We need to catch up. We need to have a little life update. We just need to chat. So that is what this video is going to be. If you see me looking to the side, it's because I have my iPad over here because I planned out this video and I have my talking points and I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't gonna, you know, screw nothing up. This video is really gonna be like a life update, talking about some things about me that I haven't like, or where I'm at, I guess, in life that I haven't really been sharing, and my vlogs that I've been wanting to share for a little minute, but I've been like back and forth about it, but I decided I'm gonna make the video anyways. I told myself that I think it would be a good idea to film this video because I think it will not only be like therapeutic for myself, but I also think that this could be like very useful and helpful to somebody else. So I saw this video on TikTok the other day and it was basically this girl talking about feeling like you are in a, like, just like a weird period where like you're trying to essentially figure shit out, and how for a lot of people that happens like in their late 20s and for some early 30s, but like your mid to late 20s. And the way she was talking about it, I feel like she perfectly encapsulated what I have been feeling for quite some time. So yeah, I'm gonna let y'all watch it and then keep that in mind because we are gonna come back to it later on in the video. So roll the tapes, editing Nye.
I wasn't even gonna post this, but I was just sitting here thinking like, there's really a point in your life, like it's usually between like 27 and 29, where you start to realize the person who got you to where you are now is not gonna be the same person who gets you to where you wanna go. And there's like this shift that I've been feeling in my life where I'm like at this crossroad. I can either go down lane A, which is like super familiar, it's very comfortable, but I know that I'm like not satisfied there, but there's not anything like inherently wrong with it. Like it very much is still giving like a level up from where I came from, and a part of me feels like very proud about that, and I'm very like inspired by it, but I'm still not satisfied. And then there's like lane B, where it's like everything is freaking new. I'm scared shitless to go down this road, but I know that if I want a change, and I know that if I want to be better and I want to reach higher heights, I have to go down this blind rabbit hole and just trust God that it's gonna work out. And in the last, I wanna say like really 3 months of my life, as I've been like playing with the idea of like keeping it safe, keeping it cute, keeping it comfortable, my body has had like this physical reaction to it. Like that's how you know what's comfortable isn't always what's going to keep you in your purpose. What's comfortable is not always your calling. And so if anyone who has made it down this video and who have seen this can relate, I want to just encourage you that like, number one, you're not alone, but also that your greatness is on the other side of fear. And if you love God and trust God like you say you do, and you're tapped into your ancestors like you say that you are, just blindly go. Blindly go for that thing that is unknown, it's uncomfortable, it's going to challenge you, but in that challenge is your level up. It is that thing that you've been wanting, that craving, that yearning that you haven't experienced yet, but you know that you are meant for. That's gonna happen in the unknown. It's not gonna happen in the comfortable. And that's the message.
Okay, so before we get into that specific like video and why I've been feeling like why I've been feeling the way I've been feeling, which is what she basically talks about in that video, we have to back up and do a little bit of a life update. So in January, like mid-January, I left my job that I was working, and so I have been unemployed since mid-January, and it has been a little bit of a difficult time for me, excuse me, which is why if you watched my birthday vlog, which if you haven't watched it, make sure you go watch it. But if you watched that video, near the end of that video, after I opened up like all my gifts and everything, I had a little crying session because, sorry, I just play with my hair a lot. I had a little bit of a crying session because I was telling y'all that I wasn't really in the mood to celebrate my birthday this year. Like, it just wasn't giving the vibes. I was like, I don't really want to celebrate my birthday this year, and the reason why I didn't want to celebrate is because I just felt like, what is there to celebrate? Like, yes, I'm grateful for another year of life, but I don't really feel like celebrating my life because I don't have a fucking job right now. And while like financially I am okay, and part of the reason why I'm okay is because I also have assistants that I'm very appreciative and grateful for. I don't have a job right now. Obviously job hunting, yes, and I've been job hunting for quite some time, but excuse me, I don't have a job, and so I was just like, well, what is the point in like celebrating, you know, my birthday? I'm just not feeling it. It's just not giving this year. And I think also a part of that too was just like, because I'm unemployed, there's been for me like a lot of like, I think like shame and feeling like I'm a failure kind of, and I know that I'm not, but like, you know, the feelings still creep up. So I just wasn't really in the mood to celebrate my birthday, and I was like, oh, why is my voice cracking? I was like, I feel like you're going to regret not celebrating your birthday. So you might not be in the best of moods right now, but like, don't cancel your dinner. So I ended up not canceling it. Why can't I speak today? And in that video, in my birthday video, I was like, I'm glad that I didn't, because I didn't want to regret it. And while I might not feel or be in the best place in my life at the moment, I feel like I should still celebrate myself. So yeah, anyways, I left my job in mid-January. I'm not going to get into the specifics of the why, but yes, I left my job in mid-January, and so since then I've just been trying to keep myself busy between like doing content and applying to jobs and just trying to do stuff that makes Nyla happy, because I just can't sit and like be sad all day. It's just not productive to me. While I won't get into the specifics of like why I left my job, I will get into the specifics of why I left Minneapolis. It kind of ties into why I left my job. I talked about it briefly in a moving vlog when I was driving back to North Carolina from Minneapolis. Yeah, but I talked about it briefly in like a moving vlog when I was driving back to North Carolina. But essentially I left for 3 main reasons, with 2 of them being like the most important. So first one was my mental health. My mental health was absolutely in the gutter, in the trash. I did not realize it until I was like out of the situation. Actually, I realized it before I was out of the situation. So this is gonna be like the 2nd year in a row that I've had a breakdown on my birthday, essentially around like my life and I guess me being unhappy. So last year when I came to Charlotte to celebrate my birthday, I was also here for my friend's baby shower, but I celebrated my birthday while I was here too. And on the way back to the airport, when I was in the car, I ended up having a breakdown because I did not want to go back to Minneapolis, and my dad was like, I didn't know that you were that miserable, and I was like, I didn't think that I was that miserable. I don't know. I think I'm just really good at like holding in like a lot of my feelings, and I'm good at masking them so that when I go out in the world and I'm like talking to people, or even if I'm talking to my friends, you would never know that something is wrong, because I just will not show it majority of the time. And so I think I just kept the feel. I think I felt unhappy, but I don't think I was like fully aware that I was unhappy, and I wasn't really acknowledging the emotions until I like basically had a breakdown in the car. And I swear I feel like I cried for like 30 to 45 minutes because I was also crying in the airport, and that was kind of crazy to me. I already don't like crying. I especially don't want to cry in front of strangers, but like I couldn't help it. I just kept crying, and I realized like, yeah, you are not happy and you're very miserable, even though outwardly you don't appear to be miserable. Before I had came home for my birthday, I had already decided that I wasn't going to sign my lease or re-sign my lease in Minneapolis, but when I had my little breakdown, I was like, oh bitch, you made the right decision. You need to get up out of there. You need to come back home. So yeah, my mental health was in the gutter, so that was reason number one. Number two was I wanted to be closer to my family and to my friends, but especially to my parents. My parents are older. I think my mom is like 72. I believe we celebrated her 72nd birthday in February. I've been losing track. Let's double check. Let's not lie. Yes, it was her 72nd birthday, and my dad is 69. My mother's a cougar. She's older than him. In 2021, a few months after I had graduated from my master's program, my mom had gotten diagnosed with stage 3 pancreatic cancer, and when I moved to Minneapolis, she was still undergoing chemotherapy and she was about to start radiation. Kind of felt really bad about moving during that time, even though she said it was fine. I felt really bad about it, and yes, there's not necessarily anything that I could have done specifically to like help her or like make her feel better, I guess, or take her cancer away, but I just felt a little guilty and uncomfortable being that far away from them. And plus, like, I could have been a help to like my dad by being home. So yeah, I just felt a little bit guilty about that. And then also, I think the month after my birthday, like my dad ended up having brain surgery to relieve like some pressure. There was something like going on, and his doctor recommended that he get this procedure, so he got it done. The post-op phase was a little scary because his vitals were all over the place, but thankfully he was fine. So yeah, I just felt very uncomfortable like being far away from my parents, and maybe it's also because I'm a little bit of a baby. I have a very close relationship with them. I'm also the baby of me and my brother, so yeah. I felt a little uncomfortable about that. And then also a plus is to just be closer to my friends. And then the third reason was around the time that I started to consider whether or not I was gonna stay in Minneapolis and stay in my job, I was feeling very irritable and I was feeling very frustrated in my job. And I was also starting to contemplate at the time, like, is this what I really like want to do like in life? Like, is this my career path, or do I want to pivot and do something else, which kind of relates to that TikTok video about like really like trying to figure it out, and like, do you go down a path where it feels very comfortable, or do you go down a new path where it's unfamiliar and uncharted territory, but like it might be a necessary thing for growth, or like it just might overall like make you happier, and what you originally thought was like your purpose might not be your purpose, or it could still be your purpose or something that you're really passionate about, just maybe you don't need to pursue it as a career. And so I started having these thoughts like a while back, and I still have these thoughts because I'm still trying to navigate it and figure it out. So that kind of leads us kind of tying back into the TikTok video and me being in my Saturn return. What is your Saturn return? So I have some notes here. It's from a Vogue article, and I believe Vogue did an article on this because a lot of artists have been mentioning like their Saturn return in their music, like Ariana Grande. So I feel like that's why I did a little article on it. But anyways, it'll be linked down below. It's often a period where you're reevaluating certain aspects of your life and figuring out who and what you want to commit to moving forward. And the astrological term for this specific life stage is the Saturn return. So it takes about 29 years to make a full lap through all 12 zodiac signs, then return to the same position that it was at when you were born. When it does this, this phenomenon is referred to as your Saturn return. Saturn is currently in the sign of Pisces right now from March 2023 to February 2026. The last time Saturn occupied this sign was from 1994 to 1996. So anyone who was born during those years, I was born in 95, is currently in the midst of their Saturn return. Though your exact Saturn return occurs at the age of 29, I just turned 29, the underlying feeling of Saturn typically encompasses the entire range of 27 to 30. And I feel like that makes a lot of sense because I feel like we're about to get into a portion of the video where it obviously relates to the Saturn return, but I've felt like my life has been like in limbo and like unstable is like the only way I can describe it for the past like few years. But I think like since I turned like 27, I think that's when I really fully started to like, I guess, think about it some more. And then like within the past like year and a half, I just feel like my life is like not in complete disarray. It's just like not where I want it to be, and I'm just trying to figure shit out. And I just feel like life should have already been figured out, and we're gonna talk about that too because I'm a person that plans almost everything in my life. I'm a planner. I have a type A personality, so it is what it is, and I had my life planned out and life is not going according to that plan. But anyways, back to Saturn return. Saturnian themes that are brought up around your late 20s have to do with taking on greater responsibilities, putting in a lot of hard work, finding greater structure in your life, and laying stronger foundations for your future. Whatever new life direction is revealed around the Saturn return will continue to be developed over the next several decades. Saturn return is also a period where you're getting clear on who you want to be as an individual. Saturn will have you realizing the ways you haven't been living true to yourself, and you will want to break free from any self-imposed limitations. There's also usually a lot of pressure on you to have your entire life figured out. There may be a feeling that time is running out, but also that everything is taking way too long to happen. There are no shortcuts with Saturn, so you're often putting in a lot of extra effort but not seeing the payoff until several years down the road. Saturn return can affect various areas of your life. For some, it may be a time of experiencing a major career pivot or finding your niche at work. That's where I stopped pulling information because that directly relates to me, but it can also be like you really trying to figure out whether a certain relationship you're in or relationships that you just have with others in general, like, does this make sense? Like, you know, it could be like, damn, I'm not married yet. Like, and you start having all of these like life crises and epiphanies and things like that. For me, it's really mostly like around my career and what the fuck I'm doing in life. For a while, I've felt like my life has been like unstable, or I'm feeling like a little lost or confused, kind of. I had my life figured out a very long time ago, and the plan was always to go to medical school and become a doctor. Period. End of story. Nothing else was going to take place. Then when I got my bachelor's degree, I have a human bio degree, and I knew that I needed a break after undergrad and that I couldn't just directly go back to school because I was gonna have a nervous breakdown. I just needed a break, and I put a lot of pressure on myself when I was in undergrad. I always put a lot of pressure on myself. It's just who I am as a person. It's not healthy, but I already know this about myself. And so I needed a break. And so during that time, I did work, and I was also getting some clinical experience through that job because I wanted to, you know, beef up my med school application a little bit. And during that time, I realized that I had an interest in public health. So when I applied to med school, I applied to MD or DO / MPH programs, so dual degree med programs, med school / MPH programs. But then I was also like, in case that doesn't work out, you need to have a backup plan. And so I decided to also just apply to grad school, Master of Public Health programs. Med school did not work out, but grad school did. I got into grad school, and that was the new route. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do, and it's figured out basically. By the time I was done with like my first year of grad school, I knew that I had no interest in reapplying to med school to try to get in. I was pretty content with just staying in the field of public health. Plus, at that time, I felt like, and I still feel this way, I think that is a better field to try to make some like real headway or progress as far as like addressing racial disparities is concerned, because you can really get at the root cause or the downstream factors that determines one's health or their ability to achieve their optimal health, which is known as health equity. And so I just felt like public health was a better route to go down in order to do that kind of work versus being a doctor. That's just my personal opinion. So yeah, I also feel like if you are not doing racial equity work as a public health person, you're doing it wrong. I'm not arguing with anyone about it because yeah, I just don't understand how you do that and don't factor in race or racism, because race is not technically the reason people are having these health disparities. It's racism. So yeah, anyways, yeah, I had decided that public health was the path that I was gonna go down. As far as like jobs were concerned, I really wanted a job where I could really like essentially like blend my love and passion of like health equity and racial equity. Like I said, I don't feel like you can have one without the other, but sometimes people do health equity and they just fail to acknowledge race and racism, which doesn't make sense to me. So I wanted that to be very explicit in whatever job that I was going to have. And luckily, I've had 2 jobs post-grad school that allowed me to work on both things that I'm really passionate about. But then, you know, with both jobs, I had feelings of like frustration because the work is very personal to me, and it's personal to me because I'm Black and I understand how this world, we live in an anti-Black white supremacist world. I understand how we are affected and the disparities that people who look like me experience as a result of living in this system. So when y'all want to play games or y'all say that y'all are about this work, but in reality you're not, it's irritating to me. And also, what is the point in hiring people for this shit if y'all are not really serious about it? Y'all just want to play games and you want to pretend that you're doing the work. That's frustrating to me. And I have questioned a lot within the past year, like really year and a half, probably now, is this the right career path for me? Not because I'm not passionate about it, but like I can also find other avenues to do this work and it not be my profession and just go do something else. And so I also already have a skill set in program and project management. The scope of the projects is different, but the skill set is there. And so I've considered like just pivoting into just program and or project management. I've also looked at some other things too, and I recently got a certification. So yeah, I've just been trying to figure out life. I feel like for the past like few years, like we originally had plan A. That was go to med school, be a doctor. Then we had to come up with plan B. That was just supposed to be the plan. And that was supposed to, you know, work. And now I'm trying to figure out like, where do I go from here, especially like as I'm on my job search. I also feel like I've like moved around like quite a bit. So like I just feel like there's just been a lot of movement, a lot of change, a lot of ups and downs. And it's just like, I just want life to be like, I needed to like, not flatline as in like die, but like I need stability right now. I really need some stability because it just feels like a lot and it feels a little overwhelming at times. And yeah, so I really need some stability, and I'm trying to figure out essentially how to get to a place of feeling stable like internally and also like physically in terms of like location that I'm in, also financially. I just need to feel stable, and I'm trying to figure it out, especially because like I said, I originally had a plan, then we had another plan that I was very happy to go down that road and just that be it. And now I'm just contemplating life and everything and my career, and it's just like, what the fuck are we doing here? So yeah, it's just been very interesting. At 29, I don't think that I imagine like feeling like unstable or not having a job or just me trying to figure it out, because bitch, it was already supposed to be figured out. And so yeah, 29 has been very interesting so far. The whole year of 28 has been very interesting, and I feel like year 28 going into 29 has been a character development year for me. That's what we're gonna call it. We're gonna call it a a character development year, but most definitely though, I'm in my Saturn return because what the fuck is going on? And so where am I at right now and how am I navigating my Saturn return? Well, obviously since I'm unemployed, I am job hunting. I have been job hunting long before I even moved back to North Carolina. I started interviewing for jobs around this time last year and well into after I had gotten back. I was very confident that I was going to have a new job by the end of 2023. I know when I do bad at interviews, and there was only one interview last year that I know that I like completely bombed because my nerves really got the best of me, like it was bad. But all my other interviews, I know that I did well. So then when I didn't get those jobs, I was just very like confused and I felt very defeated. I think even coming into this year and applying to jobs, I've felt like very defeated and stuff. But I also know that I'm not the only person like going through this, and the job market is very, I need to stop playing with my hair. Okay, enough. The job market is like very shitty right now. Like it's really, really bad. But we're gonna persevere because we don't have a choice and we will get a job. But yeah, so I'm obviously job hunting, but I also think something else that I'm trying to do is like really like give myself a lot of grace during this time. It's really hard. It's really hard to not feel like you are a failure when you're going through stuff like this. It does feel like that. I don't know how to not feel like that, but that's what it feels like. It feels like I'm a little bit of a failure. I know that I'm not. I've accomplished a lot of things in my life thus far, but especially professionally too, but I just feel like a little bit of a failure. And so I'm trying to allow myself to feel my feelings now. I cry about this shit much. My birthday was the last time I cried about it, and before that was in January. I already don't like to cry, and I just feel like I can't be moping around being sad all the time. I definitely have my days where I'm just like not in the mood and I'm just not feeling it, and I am very like frustrated and irritated and maybe a little bit sad, but I can't sit in those feelings for too long because it's not productive. But I do try to let myself have those feelings. I'm just not gonna cry about it probably until enough emotion like that I've held within just finally decides to come out. Very unhealthy coping mechanism, but I know who I am as a person, but I can't be crying about this shit every day. It's not productive for me. So I try to give myself grace and allow myself to feel my feelings, and also try to affirm like, yes, you might feel like a failure or like your life is like in disarray or whatever, but like you're not a failure and you will find a job. I'm also trying to prioritize doing things that make me happy. So whether that is going to the grocery store and I go get myself some flowers, or maybe I go buy myself some makeup sometimes. What else? I create content. Obviously, creating content is my happy space, even though it's not something that I get paid for or get paid from quite yet. I make a little bit of money, but it's not like enough to sustain anything right now. It is my happy place, and I genuinely enjoy creating content. Now when I'm in a funk, it kind of affects that because then I just don't feel like doing anything. But I'm trying not to, you know, let my mood sometimes affect something that actually like makes me very happy. I like to spend time with my friends. I like to go out and eat. I do my nails, which I need to redo them soon. The point is I try to do some things that like make me happy and that are good for my soul and are essentially like basically like self-care, because it is a difficult time right now, and I'm going to drive myself crazy and be miserable if I'm just solely like applying to jobs every day and not doing anything else. I'm really trying to prioritize like doing things that makes Nyla happy. Obviously, like I said, I'm still trying to figure out what to do professionally, especially as I'm job hunting. Like, do I continue down a path that I'm familiar with and like still do like racial equity, health equity, DEI related roles, even though while I'm really passionate about those jobs and once felt like it was my calling, right now I'm a little unsure. They bring me a lot of like irritability and frustration like while I'm in the job, and it's because I'm too passionate about it. Or do I do something where it's not necessarily that I don't give a fuck about the job, but like mentally and stress wise, it's just not as much on me mentally, and it's just not as stressful. I still care, I just am not as invested as this other work. But I still feel like it's a valuable experience and I can learn a lot, especially since there's already like an interest there. So then do I just, you know, pursue this other path that is a little bit newer? Yeah, so I'm trying to figure it out, and I don't have it figured out, and I wish it would just figure itself out for me. But yeah, that's kind of like where I'm at right now. I try to tell myself that everything is, you know, gonna work out, because it has to. Everything is going to work out the way it's supposed to, because it has to. Like, I will find a job and it will work out. So that is kind of where I am right now. I don't really have a solution for anybody that is going through a similar situation, or just even if you are employed but you're feeling like a little just like lost right now in your life, because you're probably going through your Saturn return also, and you're just trying to figure out certain aspects and parts of your life. The only like pieces of advice that I have that I'm trying to apply to my own life, like I said previously, like give yourself grace, allow yourself to feel your feelings. Do things that make you happy, and tell yourself as much times as you need to until you believe it, because that's what I'm doing. Tell yourself that everything is going to work out and everything will be fine, because it has to be fine, because God said so. So like it just has to work out. That like it has to work out. There is no other option. It has to work out. That is really like all I have. I really wanted to make this video, one, because I felt like it would be very therapeutic for me to like talk about this and get it out, so I'm not just always holding the feelings like here. And two, I felt like this could be helpful to anybody who might be going through a similar situation, or you're just feeling like lost or confused or trying to figure out things just in general in your life. Like, it might not be career related, it might be relationship related, or just like what your path is in life and you just trying to figure it out. We're all trying to figure it out, but I really do think it hits harder in like your mid to late 20s, like feeling like you have to have your life together and have it all figured out. And in reality, you don't have to have it together, but I would still personally just like some sort of like stableness, and to just figure it out at least just like a little bit, even though obviously over time like things can change, life changes, life happens, but like this is a very like uncomfortable period for me right now. So yeah, the point of this video was to not only be therapeutic, for this to not only be therapeutic for me, but for it to also like help someone else, and for y'all to know that like you're not alone. We're all trying to figure some shit out over here. So yeah, I really hope that y'all enjoyed this video. I do want to say thank you to everyone that is like subscribed to my channel and also follows me on like other platforms, but specifically like for YouTube, I feel like I try to cultivate a very like positive space and energy over here on my channel, and I feel like my subscribers do as well. So I do want to thank y'all for always like supporting, and also just allowing for this to be like a safe space for me to talk a little bit more personally about my life and how I'm feeling and things that I'm going through. And so yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you are not already subscribed and a part of the family, I really don't know what you're waiting for. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button. You're gonna love it here, because everybody loves it here, and that's on motherfucking period. So subscribe and come join the family. But yeah, I love you guys oh so much, and I will see you beautiful people in the next video. Bye y'all.